Xbox controllers. They're pretty darn expensive for what they are, and they break easy. So on this controller, this button here is broken, the shoulder button, and I fixed it. So this video you're about to see is me kind of walking you through what I did to fix the shoulder buttons. So if you want to take an Xbox One controller apart, this video is going to show you what you need to do. So this is my Xbox One controller, and the right shoulder button's broken. And if you look in there, see if I can focus in on it, you can see that the plastic retainer part of the clip, of that shoulder button, that's not focusing, there it is, has broken off right in there. So I'm going to take this apart. I'll show you guys how I take it apart. First thing you got to do though is you need to have the right tools, and when I peeled this off today I noticed that this was a tamper-proof Torx. Not sure on the size yet, I have to check it with my tools. Looks like it'll probably be about an 8 or 9 Torx. So this is what I mean with the tamper-proof Torx bit. You can see there's a little hole in the middle there, and that's what you need to get into there. For me it was the T9 size that fit the best. So I took that screw out, and you're also going to need one of these. These are those removal tools for taking apart cell phones or controllers in this case. I'm going to start at the trigger. That's already where I've got this broken, so I'm going to start around the trigger because that's probably going to be the easy place to start because I'll actually be able to see there. So work slowly and methodically, and then you'll see this is the piece here that comes out, and you can see where the clips are. So you just very slowly just kind of work along, pry with as you go along. I went around here probably 2 or 3 times in one order and the other order, back and forth, until I got it all loose. So that's that. Now I'm going to repeat that on this side here. So if you've never done this before, I figured here I'd show you what I've done here. So I started here and I went under and pried out. And that's what I'm going to do as I go along, and I can't do this with just one hand, but that's essentially what I did. I went in and pried out, and not too much, just a little bit at a time. I'm showing you a little bit more extreme here because I want to be shown on the video. That's what you do, in and out, just a little bit like this, and kind of work along. Don't pull it all the way out. Try and keep it in there a little bit so that you're wedging it in there and popping those clips loose. Okay, so once you get this loose, you're going to see you got a screw there, I think there's one there. There's definitely one there. Definitely one there. And then no, I think it might only, oh, down there. That's where they're down in there. That's where the other one is. So that's where the other one is as well, over there. So you've got 2 on each side. Here, down there, there, and up here. So those are going to come off now. Also, no concerns here. These screws are all the same size, so don't worry about getting them mixed up. Okay, so at this point in time I got the screws out, and I think it'll just lift apart at this point in time. So with those 4 screws coming out, you're now going to be able to take this front cover plate off. You're going to put that aside. Okay, so just like the front plate came off, the back plate came off now too. Just took a little bit of wiggling. I had to depress the triggers just a little bit to release that back plate here. So now I've got the front plate and the back plate off. So as you can see here, I've got the vibration motors and the circuitry here. So now I need to lift this piece off, and I should be able to get at my buttons that are broken. So those popped off on me right away, and then this little home button here, not the button, the Bluetooth Connect button here, jumped right out at me. So now that I've got this piece off, I can now crazy glue this together. So I crazy glued this back in place, and then I used Q-Bond. Right there you can see the reinforcing powder, and that'll make it a little bit stronger. So Q-Bond is some pretty good stuff. The bottle I have is all taped up here. But it basically is a glue with these little bottles of reinforcing powders. There's a black and gray one. I have another video on Q-Bond that I made about close to a decade ago about how to use this stuff. So if you want, you can check that out. I'll put a quick link to it up in the corner here. Okay. Okay, so with a little patience, you can wiggle those shoulder buttons back in. So I've been trying to figure out how this one goes back into here, trying different turns and different twists, and none of it seemed to work. So now I'm looking over here, and I think what I actually need to do is I need to place it into this slot here. So right there, it goes in there, and that should seat it where it needs to be. And sure enough, that's where it went, just like that. So now what I can do is now I can put the top plate with the shoulder buttons on there. Now keep in mind here, you've got a few pieces that extrude here, like this one here, these pieces here, and then there's a couple on here. You got to make sure that they all line up nicely. These ones here, these two here, they go inside these little retainers there to keep them running true, and then these here, they go into the slot there. So we're going to put that back on now. Once you have that done, test the buttons. Make sure you're getting a tactile response from all of them the way they should be. For the shoulder buttons, pushing the trigger just a little bit because the trigger runs and comes into the way. So that's working. Now we're going to reassemble in the reverse order that we took it apart. So we're going to put the front plate on, the back plate on, make sure the motors for vibrations are in place, put our bolts back on, put these pieces back on, and then test it out. So let's start that one step at a time here. So I've got to hold it together at this point in time still because the screws aren't in, but you can see it's all lined up. I started with the front plate. I tested my buttons, make sure they're all working. Now I can put the screws in. Now, these are one of those infamous plastic screws, right? The little barrels where the threads are in, and these are really easy to strip and to break the plastic tabs. So, I have a video here. Invest the 3 minutes, watch it, and you will not break them, otherwise you might. Okay? So, we're going to put in the screws now. Alright, we're almost done. We got the screws in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop these side plates back on. These side covers, they're just pressed fit on. So, just like this. If you didn't break any of the tabs, then they'll all go on nicely again. Alright, so now, doesn't matter if it's your RPG or your first-person shooter or a strategy game, you are ready to conquer that digital world again. So, go play.